Hey, Baker, Steve Reed from the Associated.
Muted yourself, Steve.
Sorry about that. Hey, Baker, Steve Reed from the Associated Press. Welcome to Charlotte, first of all. I just wonder if you could speak to, the situation and coming to Charlotte. And, when you look back at Cleveland, is there any animosity on your part?
Appreciate the welcoming. No, I'm extremely excited for this new start in Charlotte. Obviously, I think it's kind of known now. Some familiar faces there, some people that I know, and a lot more to meet. And it's just an exciting time for myself and my family, and just this new chapter. No animosity towards Cleveland. It's a good football town that gave me the first 4 years of my career, and thankful for those trials and tribulations, all the challenges, a lot to learn from and look back on and reflect, but just really focused on right now and being a Carolina Panther, and pumped up to do so.
That said, how much are you looking forward to that week one?
Anytime you get to put the pads on, for the first time, it's live fire. It's always a great time. Obviously, it's going to be a special one. It's going to be a home game and playing against a former team. A similar situation of what I've gone through in the past when transferring from college to college. So got to handle it the best way possible. And, my job is to put our team in the best position to win. And however I can help do that, that's what I'm going to do.
Welcome, Baker. Josh Graham, WSJS. Given where Cleveland was when you arrived there, and really the heights that you achieved not even a couple of years ago, how surprised are you about the way this offseason shook out?
I think, that's why it was surprising for everybody. Pretty unexpected, but, if I'm focused on the past, then I'm not doing my job, and, being a Carolina Panther now. So like I said, I'm grateful for my time there. Shocked. I'd say it was, pretty much the only way to describe it, but you roll with the punches and you got to move forward. This is a test of adversity and how I'm going to handle it and how I can move forward and be the best teammate possible with our new home. And I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm sure you hear what people say publicly, even if you try to drown it out. Do you feel you get enough credit for what you did with Cleveland in that playoff run a couple of years back?
You know what? Cleveland's a special place, and there's teammates and friendships and bonds that we all contributed to that special run, and to help turn that around. There's guys that lifelong friendships that I'll have that are very special to me, near and dear to Emily and I, that we'll never forget about. But I'm never a me guy. I'm a team first win guy, and we had a good time there, and I'm looking forward to being able to contribute with Carolina now.
We're going to go to Will Kunkel and then Scott Fowler, please.
Hey, Baker. Welcome to Charlotte, man.
Thank you.
Here with Fox Charlotte, Queen City News, home of your Carolina Panthers. What kind of went into you taking that $3.5 million pay cut? What was that conversation like? Was that difficult? Was that on the table from the start? You kind of walk me through that.
Yeah, for me, that process was definitely interesting. I don't think there was any manual for it. You've seen guys give up money and part ways, but it's not very often that it's a guaranteed contract that it happens with. And, for me, it was about the next steps forward, and finding a new place, somewhere that wanted me, somewhere that, that I would be able to go in and compete and have a fresh start somewhere. So that's where that all came from. Not a very easy past couple of months in terms of negotiating and trying to come down to that number. It wasn't the original number, but I let the people that handle that stuff for a living take care of that. And I was just working on, becoming more healthy, just working out and grinding and doing all those things that I can control, and letting the people that that's their forte to do so with that.
And then real quick, Sam reached out to you. What was that conversation like? And were you shocked that he got your number before you got his?
No, I mean, Sam and I, we've known each other for a few years now. Great guy, and just, welcomed me in, had tips where to start looking for houses and all that. Just, no, Sam's a great guy, and looking forward to being in that locker room and that quarterback room with them and competing and challenging each other. And it's going to be special. I think we're going to we help each other out quite a bit. And no, not shocked at all. That's just who he is. Great guy. You can write whatever story you want about him, but he's a good guy that wants to help his team win and loves football.
Baker, welcome to Charlotte. Scott Fowler from the local paper here, the Charlotte Observer. Coming to Charlotte certainly is a fresh start for you, I'm sure, and I'm sure you didn't come with the idea of being a backup quarterback. So do you anticipate being the starting quarterback here?
Well, I think when you're at any level as high as this in the NFL, nobody has the mentality of being a backup. We're at this level because we compete to be the very best. And that's why Sam's here as well. And that's why Matt Corral just got drafted, and PJ Walker's competed and fought through a lot of adversity as well. And so, my intention is to become the best quarterback I can be, help this team win. And that's why I'm happy to be in Carolina. Is this, I feel like the team's very close to being really, really good. We just have to put the pieces together and come together as a team. And however that happens, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to, fill whatever role is to be expected of me and be a great leader and a great teammate.
And just quick follow-up to that, but speaking of being on the cusp of being really, really good, you've been on a playoff team before, won a playoff game. Does this have the feel to you of a playoff team?
I can't say that for certain yet because I've only talked to guys over the phone. Even when I came in the facility, everybody's on vacation. So, I'm not going to put any predictions out there by any means, but just the feel of the guys that are so welcoming. It feels like there's really good camaraderie. It feels like everybody's on the same page, and that's a great foundation to build something special. So we'll see where we can go with it.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Augustus Stone, followed by Joe Person, and then Will Palachik.
Hey Baker, how are you? I'm Augustus Stone with Panthers.com. Welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, your process getting acclimated to the new playbook, building chemistry, like you said, over the phone. How does that process change when it's sort of, kind of put quickly now with 2 weeks until reporting day for training camp in Spartanburg?
There's a lot of cramming. The past week or so, a few days, ever since becoming a Carolina Panther, have been a lot of just getting to know everybody, talking over the phone, finally officially get the playbook today. And so there'll be a lot of studying, a lot of cramming, and we'll also, still working out and doing all that. So it's a pretty hectic couple of weeks right here before training camp, but it's so exciting. It's, the start of this new chapter, and, trying to balance out how much to, reach out to guys, get to know them as teammates, while also realizing that I have to know my job in and out better than most. So there's a lot of balance and priorities to be had.
Hey, Baker, good to see you. It's Joe Person. I'm with The Athletic in Charlotte. And I have two. I'll just fire the first one at you.
Okay.
Scott Fitter was just on here, and he talked about how he really likes kind of your fiery, competitive nature that some people, have certain avenues have sort of tried to use against you, I guess you'd say. Did you learn anything in Cleveland that whole 4 years there that, will you do anything differently, I guess, as you come to Charlotte?
I think there's definitely, there was a lot of lessons and experiences that I learned from when it comes to, keeping some things in house, but also being myself. That's why I was drafted there, was to help turn that place around and to be the best version of myself. I think it's easy to get lost in, stories and media at the same time. So it's tricky to balance, but that's the multiple conversations that I've had with Scott and Coach Rule about, they want me to be myself, be a good leader, be a great teammate, but I've always been vocal and being able to bring guys and elevate them. So there's balance, but that competitive nature, that'll never go away. If I do that, then I shouldn't be playing anymore. So that's what's gotten me here, helped get me here, and I'll have to continue to do that.
And then the follow-up, that there's been talk that you and Sam potentially might try to do a little sort of throwing session or throwing camp before training camp. Are you going to have time to do that? And do you think that's going to come together?
Yeah, I think that's pretty important for myself, especially to get some reps with some of these guys I have never thrown with, and just to get to know them more importantly. So just whether it's, one throwing session before training camp and just having a couple meals and sitting down with the guys, I think that's so vital to building chemistry, and just talking through things, making sure we're on the same page and having that great relationship to where, if there's critiques, it's not personal. It's all for the betterment of the team. And I want to have that open relationship with these guys.
Hey, Baker, Will Pelagic from WFNZ Radio, the sports talk station here in Charlotte. A lot of the analysis I hear from people who've seen you play is that all they need is the 2020 Baker, and this could be a playoff team. This could be a big, big year for the Panthers. What was it about, the 2020 Baker Mayfield version that you feel like you have to bottle up to try and bring into this year? I know health is a big part of it, but I guess what do you need to reclaim in your game in order to put this team in the best foot forward?
For me, freedom of, making sure what I'm seeing at the line of scrimmage and putting ourselves in the best position possible. I think based on my conversations with Coach McAdoo and Coach Rule, just, if you make an audible, you change a play, you better have an explanation and a reasoning why, and we're going to be aggressive. And so for me, that's that mindset that I've always had is put our guys in the best position to win. If there's a one-on-one, trust our guys to go make a play. If they load the box up, let's throw it. If they want to check out and play coverage, let's run the ball. And it's that mindset of being free and, putting our guys in the best position possible to win. When it comes to the 2020, I think it's an interesting time period because we were learning a playbook during COVID and during the pandemic from afar doing Zoom meetings. So for me, there was a little bit of learning curve with that, but at a certain point halfway through that year, I just let it go and started playing ball. And for me, that was just being myself and being a great teammate.
And secondly, and you touched on this with Augustus' question a little bit, but how would you calculate the difficulty of trying to learn this offense basically with 2 weeks to go before training camp and so that you're not that far behind where Sam is from an aptitude standpoint going into Spartanburg?
You know what? Fortunately, it comes from an unfortunate circumstance where I've learned 4 different playbooks in 4 years. So it's not like this is my first time around having to learn something new. Obviously, the time crunch is the difference, but it's mostly about terminology. Just getting the new formations, the names of that down, the different names for the concepts, and just comparing that and making it all similar for me, and really just making those comparisons and continuing to grow in that. Luckily, I have a history with James Camp and the O-line coach, so I know his terminology, and so that's probably, I'm very thankful for that. That would be the hardest one, is if it was a complete new offensive line system, protection schemes, and all that. That would be very difficult. So I'm looking forward to being able to continue that with Coach Campen and spreading my knowledge with that.
Thank you, Baker.
Thank you.
We'll go to Trayvon Miles, Deshaun Brown, and then Nick Carboni, please.
Hey, Baker. Welcome to Carolina. Trayvon Miles from
Appreciate that.
ABC 11 in Raleigh-Durham. I saw that you said that you had known Christian for a while, back for 2015. I was wondering if you had spoke to him, if you spoke to anybody else on the offensive side of the ball, and what do you think about those weapons that you're coming into and ahead on this team?
Yeah, first of all, I think the team has a ton of great weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, defense has played great, but for me, I've talked to most of the guys in the offense, almost all of them, and it's a lot of talent. There's a lot of mouths and hands to be fed, which is exciting. And obviously, improvements on the O-line, bringing guys in, it's going to be competitive. I just think it's all headed in the right direction to have a very competitive offensive team, and that's great. Anytime you have competition inside the building, it makes everybody better. And when it comes to Christian, he's a more on the quiet side, soft-spoken guy, but works his tail off, and had a relationship with him since 2015, going back to the ESPN College Awards show, and had lunch with him, just randomly, and connected, and had a friendship ever since. Just a special guy, cares about his teammates, cares about winning a ton, and that's something that we definitely clicked on, and I'm very thankful to be able to have that relationship continue now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Baker, my name is Deshaun Brown. I am with the ABC affiliate here in Charlotte. Welcome.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, we heard from GM Scott Fitterer a few moments ago mentioning essentially the references the team has gotten regarding your character and everyone going to bat for you. And I'd also read where you shared you're excited for your teammates to get to know the real you. How would you describe what potentially has been misunderstood or where people misinterpret who you are?
I don't think it's a misinterpretation. I think it's just a lack of being in the building and being around me when I'm going through this work process and having fun playing this game of football that I love so much. You know, it's sometimes authenticity and playing with a passion can be, you know, opinionated and taken for what it's worth. But, you know, I only care about the guys and the people within our building, of how I treat them, you know, the sacrifices that we make for each other on a day-to-day basis. You know, we spend a lot of times away from our families together to work for a common goal. And that's a special bond that not many get to experience. It's very different from a normal workplace. And so for me, it's all about sacrificing for each other and, you know, putting that respect up front and foremost. It's about respect, knowing that you take care of each other, they're going to take care of you. And it's just a mutual relationship. And so love this game of football and, you know, blessed to be able to play it. But those misinterpretations or however you want to call it, that's quite frankly, I don't care. I care about the opinions within our building because we're fighting for the same goal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Baker, Nick Carboni from NBC in Charlotte, welcome.
Thank you.
Two, but one really quick one. I know it's number 6 has always been important to you. It's worn now by new punter Johnny Hecker. Has that been a thought to maybe work something out with him to get that, or would you be open to wearing something else?
I guess it's time to break the news. I made a deal, did my own negotiating with Johnny. Obviously, when it comes to a 4-time All-Pro, had to ask permission. You know, was willing to make those sacrifices, and he's a guy that he's got a chip on his shoulder as well. You know, undrafted free agent, spent his whole career with the Rams, and now he's got a chip on his shoulder. And no, I've had fun getting to know him over the phone. He seems like a great guy and a great leader. You know, 6 is special to me, not because it was ever my favorite number. It was the number I was given as a walk-on at Texas Tech. And when I transferred, the people at Oklahoma thought it was my favorite number. So they just gave it to me again. And so it's just stuck with me. To me, it kind of symbolizes my story, my history with that. And I truly enjoy being able to represent that. And it's something special to me now. But at first it was not. So I'm thankful for Johnny being reasonable and giving up his number for such a veteran of that many years.
And real quick, how much did your shoulder, even though it was the non-throwing shoulder and some of the other injuries, affect, you know, who you thought you could be as a quarterback last year?
Yeah, when it comes to my shoulder, I'm not one for excuses because I was too stubborn to come out anyway. My throwing motion was extremely violent, so that was probably the most hindering reason why. You know, I've made some small changes and worked with a great QB coach, Jeff Christensen, that he's helped me get back to a form that I haven't thrown the ball this well in a long time. And throwing motion looks a little different, and I'm thankful for that. So, but, you know, when it comes to the shoulder stuff, heard it so early in the year last year, I was doing rehab pretty much the whole season. So all the other smaller muscles in my shoulder were able to help me rehab and recover quickly.
Let's go to Mike Solarte, Sheena Quick, and Brett Jensen.
Hey, Baker. Mike Solarte, Spectre News 1. Welcome to Charlotte. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
The first question I have any of the guys that have been around given you any kind of information about Spartanburg and what to expect down at Camp Wofford?
I've only heard that you better hydrate and you're going to sweat a lot, but I actually, I have family that were raised in Spartanburg. So my aunt and uncle lived there, and they had two girls, my cousins, and they all actually moved to Charlotte. So I got family in Charlotte as well as some familiarity of Spartanburg. I can't say that I've spent a fall camp there yet. So I'm preparing for the worst based on what everybody's saying, and I'm excited about it.
And I'm just trying to keep things light for you because you've had so many serious questions. Have you spoken with your I guess business partners about a new line of commercials with you moving into a new home?
Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. I thought it'd be a great idea to do a moving campaign because I think everybody can relate that moving is absolutely zero fun. I don't care who you are. But no, I think that's a missed opportunity. But I'm just thankful to be able to have this fresh start and moving and have a great team around me to be able to help us out.
Thanks, Baker.
Thank you.
Hi, Baker. Sheena Quick, Fox Sports 1340. Welcome to Carolina. I
Thank
am
you.
traveling today, so I will apologize beforehand if you hear some boarding instructions in the background. But I have a two-part question for you. The first half of that is, you were rehabbing this offseason and there was so much movement. Can you talk about where you were mentally throughout this and some of the things and practices that you may have acquired to get through this process stronger?
Yeah, for the rehab process, the first portion of it was just about becoming stronger, making sure I recover correctly, because if you don't handle your shoulder injuries, it'll delay it and it'll actually make it worse for you. So the important part was actually resting and trying to slow down a little bit instead of thinking that I could go to sleep one night and wake up and it'd all be better. So taking the recovery process somewhat slow and then ramping it up once I finally felt very, very healthy. And then the mental aspect was, control what I can. This has been an off season that's taught me a lot of patience, a lot about focusing on the priorities and, realizing who's in your corner and, how to prioritize your life and just becoming the best version of myself. And so it's been, not anything of how I drew it up, how it was going to go, but I'm very thankful for it looking back on it and, excited about the future.
What during this process do you feel like is going to make you a better quarterback, better teammate, better man?
Staying patient, realizing that I can't control opinions on the outside, focus on family. And, when it comes time to work, now that I'm actually going to be on a new team and get a new playbook, it's time to grind. Let's get back to those basics, get back to that mentality that I used to have and learn this playbook and go play for my teammates and, represent, where I grew up and this team and this franchise very well.
Now, before Ryan kicks me out, you mentioned the playbook. I know you're just getting to it today, but your previous knowledge of Ben McAdoo's playbook, what do you see as far as what could be your possible strong suits, especially with the new weapons? Just what is your overall opinion of the offenses that you've seen him run in the past?
I mean, he's coached some of the most efficient offenses in NFL history, some of the most prolific teams, and looking at him, there's ability to the line of scrimmage to take advantage of matchups and take advantage of how teams are really scheming you up. And luckily for us, I think that fits very well with our position group or our offensive line to be able to take advantage that we have so many skill players that are extremely talented. So it's the freedom at the line to be able to let a defense try and guard us a certain way and dictate where we're going to go after that. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the possibilities that we'll learn about each other during training camp.
Thanks, Baker.
Thank you.
Hey, Baker, I'm Brett Jensen with WBT. We're the big news talk station in town. I'm just curious, there's a lot of stories about quarterbacks and NFL players betting on themselves, whether it's taking just a one-year deal, and it seems like you did that by taking the pay cut just to get out of Cleveland to bet on yourself. Sam Darnold's sort of in the same situation right now. You're both at the end of your contract. You both can't be the starters. Do you feel like this is a very important crossroads year for you in terms of your future going forward?
I think a lot of people put so much emphasis on a contract year. Yeah, it's in terms of that timing, it is, but every year is extremely important. Every time you step on the practice field, every time you walk into the building, you're adding to your resume. You're making an impact on what people think and perceive about you for future opportunities, whether it's on the field or off. So every single thing we do is going to be about, becoming a better quarterback, better teammate, better leader. And that's something that I think, Sam and I can both agree on is how do we help this team win? And that's, if there was drama within that room, it's going to permeate through the building. And that's not going to be the case. And we're not going to let that happen.
All right, guys, we're going to take two more to finish up. We'll go to Skylar Callahan and finish with Josh Klein.
Hey, Baker, Skylar Callahan, Sports Illustrated Fan Nation. Welcome to Charlotte. Just wanted to know how your conversation was with Matt when the deal first came about, and obviously you guys have known each other for a little while now. So just speak on what that relationship has been like over the last few years.
Appreciate that. That's the first Southern accent we've had on here. No, it's been great to get to talk to Coach Rule about. Obviously I've played against him in college. There's some history there, and excited about what the future holds, about what he wants out of his team, what he wants and sees out of his quarterbacks, and how to really lead this team from a quarterback perspective. I'm excited about it. I think he's fiery. He's real passionate. Obviously, he's a great speaker, and over the phone, leading up to the negotiations, he had me fired up. So I was ready to come and play already. But I'm looking forward to obviously working with him and doing just more than besides over the phone, just being there in person and making this franchise better.
Appreciate it, Baker.
Thank you.
Hey, Baker, Josh Klein from the Riot Report. Thanks for cutting short your vacation. You had obviously a really strong connection with the fan base in Cleveland. That's a very passionate, outspoken fan base. What do you expect from your connection here with the fans here in Carolina? And then I have one more quick follow-up after that.
Yeah, I mean, the fans in Cleveland are what make that town so great. It's a special sports town. They care about their Browns, tradition rich, and generations of families that have been Browns fans for life. And so that's what made it so special. And I think I wore my heart on my sleeves. That's how I've always done it. Give everything I have, and it's a blue collar town. And I'm grateful for those 4 years. And when it comes to moving to Carolina, it's football is a Southern sport, and so we're there in the Carolinas representing those states, and just ready to represent. Gonna see what the Keep Pounding fan base is all about, and I'm excited about it.
And this might be your most important question. What's your opinion on Southern food? And do you have a favorite? Anything you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to having my first meal at Bojangles. I haven't had that yet, but I've been told that I need to do that as soon as possible. So I'll probably wait a little bit. It's not exactly on the training camp diet, but I'm looking forward to it.